In this video, we're going to demonstrate how the PO complete function in IQ Reseller operates. This function was designed to allow ITADs or organizations to quarantine or stop the ability of selling product until the purchase order or you have approval to sell the product is marked complete. So we're going to walk you through step by step on how to enable this function and how this function operates from the purchase order to the selling side and in between. To get the purchase order complete or the PO complete function enabled, you must have the ITAD function enabled on your system. If you do not have the ITAD module enabled on your instance of IQ Reseller, please contact support and they can get that added to your instance right away. First, what you have to do to get the PO complete function enabled, once it has been added, you still have to go to admin. And once you go to admin, you have to go to system setup. Once you're in system setup, you then have to go to the PO tab. And then when you're in the PO tab, you're going to see the enable complete logic just below the default ship to client vendor drop down selection. So it will appear unmarked. You will have to come here and mark it. Once you do mark it, you will see that it is now enabled. This page does auto-save, so if I go to the Purchase Proposal tab and go back to the PO tab, you will see that that is now enabled. So every purchase order now has to be marked complete until you can go and have the ability to actually sell those items. So next is to create a purchase order. So let's go create a purchase order by going to the Buy tab and going to Purchase Orders. The PO dashboard here is going to appear. You're also going to notice that there's a new tab that appears next to Receive and next to All. So it's called the Complete tab. This will show you all of your completed purchase orders, and then all of your uncompleted purchase orders would still be under the Receive tab. So the same process still applies where you have an in-transit purchase order, then you have your partially received, and then your fully received, of course. And all of these would still have to go in and be marked complete in order to have the product show for sale. Again, the PO complete was designed not to have inventory readily available to sell, but it puts a stopgap in between in case you need customer approval. Once you've identified the product that you've picked up, you've wiped it, and maybe US Bank has to give you approval to sell their product or tell you what to do with that particular product. Maybe they want to redeploy it back, maybe they want it back, or they can allow you to sell it as well. That's what the PO complete function is doing. So from the screen, I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to go and create a new purchase proposal, and I'm going to do it to US Bank. So you can see here, if you haven't seen the ITAD module before, there is a video series, I should say, that walks you through the setup and how this functionality works. So go take a peek at that in the support center. Just search for ITAD module or ITAD, and that will walk you through how this appears. But this client vendor code, US Bank, already has a PO type set up for ITAD. They do have a workflow template applied to them. They have their own service fee template, and then they have the erasure method that if you use SoftLinks can actually read and perform these exact steps for you within their integration. But this is also telling you that you need to perform a diagnostic, you need to wipe it, and then do a reinstall of Windows 11 on it. And then you're going to see a couple new things here. You're going to see complete, you're going to see override complete, and then complete state. So once you need to come and mark the purchase order complete, you would do so here. If you ever need to mark it on incomplete, you just click the drop down arrow and go to incomplete, and it will revert that complete process back. You also have the ability to override a unit as well, or I shouldn't say unit, but override a PO. So if this is just a straight out flip, there's nothing you need to do to it. Mark it override, so the PO complete function isn't enabled on the PO, and you can quickly sell that product then too. And then once you do mark it complete, you do get a date complete as well. So let's add an item real quick. We're just going to add an item. We're going to do it as a TBD item actually too. So we're going to do a TBD, and it's going to bring it in. We're going to say that instead of a default location here, we're going to say it's at sorting, and go and click save. So like a lot of customers, sometimes you have to weigh the product as it comes in for certain carbon reporting that you have to do, or just weight balancing or mass balancing as well. So you can come in and use user-defined fields under the additional information to say, hey, that this particular item is 5 pounds. Could be 5 pounds because this customer has a work from home function within their organization, and this is an office and a box that's coming back to you to do an audit on. So we'll just say it's a TBD. Once we have this item now added, the receiver can go in here, go to items to receive. He can actually weigh the individual items, so he can put it on the scale in front of him and see that the scale weighs 5 pounds, type in the 5 pounds. And then at this point too, we can then mark it to receive. We can print the label. So you can have your 4x2 label with the inherited attributes from the master item to show for our 2 requirements. You can also always remember, you can change the size of each label at each station. So maybe this one's set up for a 4x2, but maybe you want receiving to have a 2x1 or 2x5. You absolutely have the ability to by going to labels, clicking down that drop down and going to setup. So we're going to go and receive this item now. You went from receiving to now you're at your audit station. So your auditors are likely working in the workflow process screen here. This would be the overall audit screen here. So that item from that purchase order is coming down the conveyor line. It's going to the audit station now here, and they need to manually audit that product. Again, you can have integrations that can do this for you, such as SoftThings, Aiken, WipeOS, Blanco, and all the above. So we're going to take and scan that inventory ID number from that label that's in that you just printed and applied it to the item here. We're going to go now and just quickly update this item here. And we're going to say that we're going to go down here to change the item, that this is an Elite Desk 800. Go and save this. We're going to keep the inherited attributes, and we're going to say that the diagnostic results passed, and that we'll also just quickly mark another attribute here. We're going to put in a serial number here, and then we'll change it from location of sorting to audit, so you can track whatever asset comes through each step of the process. Because having the PO complete function enabled, you are going to have to come back to the purchase order and know when you've fully received every item on that PO. Likely you have to give a skid tag, every skid tag, to your warehouse manager. Then he's tracking each of those individual purchase orders, and then once they're fully received, he has to come and mark that complete, and we'll show that here shortly. And then for this item too, we'll capture the asset tag here. We'll go and print a new label, so you can print a new label that gets the updated item to it, print it, and then on this page, always do remember you have to click save. It does not auto save. So we'll go ahead and save that. So the whole point of what we want to show here is now that that item has been discovered and updated here. So if we do a refresh on the inventory page, you see it change from a TBD item to an Elite Desk 800. If I do right click, we get the action table of showing everything that has happened. So this item has not been marked complete. So I want to go and create a sales order to show you how you can't actually then allocate this item or reserve this item to a sales order. So I went to sell and I clicked on new to create a new sales order. And we're going to create a sales order here to Acme. So that's going to bring everything up. I'm going to come here and create a new line and search for my Elite Desk 800. That's going to bring everything over. That's good. And then if I go and click on reserve line 1, there's no inventory. So no inventory has been marked complete, which means it's not going to show any completed inventory at all. If I close this out and by clicking back and try, and maybe I want to reserve by scanning the serial number or that inventory ID number by clicking on this barcode up here at the top. Let's do by serial number. That's the serial number that we put in. Doesn't exist. So there's no inventory on hand until you mark it as complete. So we have to go and click save. Let's close this out. Let's go back to buy, and let's go back to that purchase order because we have to mark it complete now. So a lot of organizations come up with their own unique process of how they're tracking. A lot of them, what they do is when they're breaking down pallets, is those skid tags are being collected. So as you're unloading pallets off of your truck for this ITAD pickup, or even just a ones and twosies, if your customer has a work from home philosophy, and that you have office and a box, and so a lot of boxes coming back, they still get a skid tag. You just put that tag that labels the PO number, the client vendor, and the date on that. And when you break down that particular parcel, you give that to your warehouse manager then to track. So here's this. I know the warehouse manager then would say, okay, this is done. And what he was going to want to do is come here to complete. Why he would know this is done is because the purchase order status gets fully marked as received. It's no longer partially received. So this is his indicator to know that every item has now run through the process. So he can come over here and click on complete, gives it that date. So this item now has been fully received. If we go, so we've gone back to the sales order tab, and we can see here's that open sales order that we originally created. So we'll go and open this back up. And from here, we're going to try and reserve that line. That item now is going to show because it's been marked complete. And if I come over here and scan this barcode, or click that barcode and click on scan inventory because I want to scan that serial number, the scan function now works because that item was marked complete. You can close that back out and you can invoice this sales order accordingly to invoice that item out of the system after you sold it. So again, the PO complete function was designed to stop product from being sold prior to approval or from customer approval, and it stops live inventory in its tracks to where it doesn't allow you to sell it as you get it. You have to have it marked complete and have that customer approval.